Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. We are under the truck, and the drive unit is supported all by its lonesome. I think last time I showed you how I had to redo these mounts, and they came out really great, but I hadn't come up with a solution for the side mount yet. Well, I have now, and it is, there's my finger. I think it's pretty cool. What it is, the top of it is just an old shock absorber that I had, so I cut the rod side off of it and welded that to just a piece of steel. I drilled a hole in it and then welded that to a Heim joint, ball end, spherical ball end, and I'm just using a shoulder bolt to bolt that to another little piece of steel that I turned down and welded it to the same plate that I was using before. And I think that has just turned out really, really great. It is slightly adjustable if I needed to. I don't need to because I set it up where it needs to be, and it works out really, really nice. So I get rid of that plate that I had welded up there, which was an absolute nightmare to get out. I never liked it, and I certainly didn't like, well, I like this a lot. We're just going to go with that. So all I did was I just sort of drilled 2 holes. One of them I drilled in the wrong spot, and where it is now is I drilled it in the right spot. And that's pretty cool. So now I can go in there and cut off all this extra metal on this plate that I don't need, make it look kind of cooler. Because right now it just looks like a big old piece of metal, because that's what it is. So now that that's done, one thing I need to do, I need to see how bad my arms, my suspension, or my half shafts hit. In order to do that, I need to clearance my axle tubes. Let's see how I do that. Got this out, and I got the DeDion tube out and up here on the bench because I want to make some clearances. I need to make the axles need to come up higher. I don't know exactly how much higher, but this is just the kind of like where the leaf is, and then this line is a 3/8 of an inch from that hole, and this line's a 1/2 inch from the hole, and then just a diagonal. And I did that just so it kind of looks cool and maybe has a little bit more structure. I don't know that I'm losing anything by cutting this out, but here is what it looks like when it is cut out, and here's what I end up with. Not a whole lot of difference. In fact, this is about 14 degrees, and when I put it on here, it's like 12. So it really doesn't get me much. And I could get more if I had a way to sort of gnaw away at that metal on the inside there. But I don't think I'd get a whole lot more. And I can't go any higher than this because that's where the leaf is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish up this other side and reinstall all of this mess. Put the suspension in full droop and see how close we are. Through the power of editing, some time is going to pass. That is how I did that. And if you have a keen eye, you'll notice that I haven't moved. So that was some editing. I did that earlier today and pulled all this stuff out, did the adjustments, and put it all back in there. This motor drops out really, really easy, and it goes back in really easy, which is awesome. Hopefully I don't ever have to do that, but if I do need to do that, I can. It's very simple. These just slide straight down, no problem, front and back. All I gotta do is just put a little bit of up pressure on it, and I can pull that shoulder bolt out. I actually have to pull this plate off because it interferes with that shock. So I have to pull that whole plate off and then pull that off. And then, like I said, just a little bit of up pressure, and then these bolts just slide out front and back, and then just let the thing go. If I had a lift, it'd be just trivial. One thing it makes it a little bit difficult is because that rear mount, how it hangs down low, I have to jack the back of the truck up a little bit extra higher so that I can get this thing out. But that's how that works. And I have done this now. I've got it all installed, and I went ahead and lowered the, I got the weight off of the suspension, and this is where it hits with the release that I made. This is where it hits, and it's not fully dropped. It's not fully drooped. So something has to happen, because it's pretty unlikely that I would ever fully droop the suspension out, but you never know. If you go over if you're going kind of fast and you go up over a steep hill or something, it could unload the rear suspension, and if it did that, it could hit these half shafts, and that would be not good at all. So one thing I could do, well, two things come to mind, is I could get some limit straps like they do in the off-road trucks, and it's basically just a piece of webbing, kind of like a seatbelt, and it just bolts to something solid up there and comes down and bolts to something solid right here, and it just limits the travel to this. This is as far down as these can go. That's one thing I can do. Another thing I could do is maybe try and find some shorter shocks, and I measured from the center of that to the center of that. It's about 16 inches is how long the shock needs to be, and I think these shocks are 17 inches. I don't know. It's not really that much more. Kind of a third thing that I'm going to try is whenever I have to take this off again anyway, so I can cut this out and put my little flange in there. Whenever I have this thing off, I've got all this stuff at work. I've got a die grinder with a carbide bit at work. I may try and remove some more material out of the inside of there. I think that's what I'm going to try and do. And, you know, I mean, it's worth giving it a shot. And, yeah. So I'm going to try and remove some of that material some more. I don't know that I'd have to remove all that much, really. But if, you know, I'll just kind of wing it when I've got this thing off. And I put it back all up here. If I didn't get enough, then I'll just, you know, go with plan one of the other two plans. But that is where we're at right now. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.